Right, so the beginnings of sit, down, and most exercises. We have duration and repetition. Duration is where we want to communicate to the dog. We want them to sustain the exercise for a period of time. But a lot of dogs can start finding this quite boring. If we're not, our timings aren't good and we're not reading the dog gets bored, gets up before we give the release command. This is something we'll want to try and avoid. Repetitions are fast, fun. The aim of repetitions are to teach your dog to come quickly, to sit quickly, enthusiastically. These are fast, powerful exercises that the dogs should enjoy and can balance out the boring duration exercises. Spark! Spark! Sit. Okay. So that's a rep. Sit. Okay. Make a game out of it. Sit. Good. And this is duration. So with a sit exercise like this, I don't want to be standing too far back, because if I put my hand down, the dog will break and come to the hand. So sit. If the dog sits back, some dogs can't help doing this. It's the way their back end is made. And they always take a big step back. So we close the gap. Good. And the food goes directly to their face. Good. Right. When I release, it's the same as the other way. I would release a rep. Okay. So my hand moves. On the release, sit. My hand goes down to the face. Come on. Sit. My hand goes down to the face. When I feel her wet nose touch my hand, that's when I can release. Okay. And I draw her out of the sit on my terms. Sit. I can also release with a throwaway. Okay. This is a nice exercise if you have a dog that likes to jump, that wants to interact with you. I'm not going to reward the jumping, but if the dog comes over, spark. And okay, the dog voluntarily sits without me asking, I'm still going to release. Spark. Okay. Alright, so I'm moving. I want to make sure the dog's engaged. Good. So I've got my baseline, just moving, making sure she's following me. Good. Very gentle, fussy eater, this one, so she's quite slow. Good. And she's following, she wants the food, so sit. Okay. We're back into the game. Good. Good. And I'm ready to do another sit. Sit. Okay. So those reps, now we'll go for something a bit more boring. Sit. Good. In the beginning, we're going to machine gun the food in. Those marks are going to be very close together. Good. Good sit. Good. And now the release. Okay. Oh! Sit. With a bit more experience and practice, I can stretch out the time between the marks. Good. Good. Okay. The same is true of down. Okay. So that was a rep. Down. Good. So this is duration. I'm using my positive marker to sound good. Some people call it a continuation marker or a bridge marker. Good. And again, once that's classically conditioned, I don't have to reward every time. Good down. again, I go towards the dog, the hand comes very close to the face, then the release, and the dog follows. And I draw the dog out what I want it to. I don't want to be using any sort of punishment here. I don't even really want to be using negative punishment where I just say, no, you're not having food. It's down to my timings and keeping the dog's interest in that position. And the dog builds expectation that the rewards will come and will hold that position. So if the dog's breaking early, I'm not giving enough treats before the release. Okay. Once we have a duration, I can build on that. Sit. Good. I'm not really ready to do distance if my dog can't hold the sit for 30 seconds without a lot of help. So she should be able to just sit here. Good. Good. Sit. Okay. Alright, so she looks pretty stable. So now I can add distance. When I start distance, again, like with everything, I'm going to go right back to baby steps. Spot. Sit. Now, the first step is her just not following me as I move away. So again, hands tucked right into my body. I don't want my food here because as I move, I'm going to draw her with me. And the first step is just to move one leg. Lean back, and I want to mark for the desired behavior, which is not her being close to me, but me being at the furthest point away. Good. I don't say anything when I come back into her. I can help her by reminding her of the commands as I move off again. Sit. Good. Sit. Good. Okay. Alright, and again, if I'm boring, if it's stressful, sit. Okay. Just some quick reps. Come on in, Spot. Okay. Sit. Okay. And I'm ready to be boring again. Sit. Sit. Good. As I mark in the early stages, when I mark, the dog might be tempted to come towards me. So as I vocalise, I'm already moving back to the dog. Sit. Good. Good. Sit. Sit. Good. Okay. Once I've done, I can start building my distance. Sit. Sit. Good. Okay. Sit. Okay. Again, mixing it up, so I'm throwing in the odd rep. Sit. Okay. Sit. Good sit. Okay. And the same for down. Down is a more food-intensive exercise in the initial stages. I don't want to teach down from the sit exercise. Otherwise, the dog starts to down when I ask for sit because the dog thinks that sit is down part 2. So I want the dog up and on all 4 fours. Okay. And I've got a big handful of food there. The dog's going to come in, make contact with my hand, and then my hand is just going to punch straight down.
she goes down following the hand. As soon as she lies down, when you first begin, it's not going to be that easy. Dog's going to be hassling your hand, trying to get. If you just tilt your hand slightly, the dog will go underneath your hand. And when the dog lies down, you open up your hand and give all of that. As soon as you do that, you need to be refilling your hand. Try not to stand over the dog, topping up the food, because when you release, if every time you stand up it's to release the dog from the down, the dog's going to think any time you get up, you stand up, that's a signal for her to get up. So the dog makes contact with the hands, you punch down, the dog drops, you mark it, good. Only then do you say down. You don't want to say down while the dog is still stood up trying to get the food out of your hand. You refill, and before the dog runs out, good, down. You top up, reload. Before the dog runs out, good, down, and you reload. As soon as that dog runs out of food in the beginning, it's just going to get up. So now I'm going to release her. So I've only got one piece in my hand. As she gets to the last piece, I'm going to come down as if I'm going to give her another big handful, but instead I'm going to go, okay, okay. There we go. And just try and pick up any food she may have missed so she's not scavenging the floor. Alright, so that was duration. I kept her there for a period of time. To get her to go down enthusiastically and quickly and just get loads of reps in for the sound down, just 2 pieces in my hand, she comes in, contact, punch down, okay! There we go. And again, she makes contact, punch down, down, okay! And there we go. The next stage is built off expectation. So just as the dog sits, we give it a treat, it doesn't get straight up when it gets a treat, because it starts to expect another. We start to see the same with down. So down, so I give her a few pieces, step away, reload. But now when she runs out, she looks. She's expecting me to come over and top it up. Good, down. I top up the food and I step back again. She runs out, she looks at me, I mark it, good, down. I come over, I top up, I step back, I mark it, good, down. And now I'm going to release. So I'm going to make out as if I'm giving another a handful of food. As my hand reaches down, okay, into a game of hand chase. Yeah. Sit. Okay. And a couple of fun little reps. Sit. Okay. And she's terrible at catching. Alright. The same process for a down with distance as with the sit. So, down. Good. As I step away, I'm going to remind you of the command. Down. Good. I come back. When you approach the dog, don't have your hand out as you approach. The dog's going to break and come to the hand. So down, I go towards the dog, and then I punch down and give the food. Step back, reload. Good, down. Okay. So that was duration. I'm going to do a rep now. Down. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right, so the final stage for both exercises, we have duration, distance, then distraction. So distraction would be down, and then I'm going to step back, and it can just be a little small movement. So if I just good, down. Again, you can help the dog, so as you're about to do the movement, just remind the dog of the command. Down. Good. Sitting is a big one. So a lot of dogs will get up when they see you sit down. So as I go to sit, I'm going to remind her of the command. Down. Good, down.
down.
Okay. Alright, so we start off with lots of marks close together and then the release commands. We start stretching out the time between those marks as the dog builds expectation. We can then extend the time of the position, throwing in lots of reps so the dog doesn't get bored and the dog has a nice fast response to our commands. Once we have duration, the dog can hold a position for 30, 60 seconds. We can then start adding a bit of distance. The hard bit is this first, getting the dog to hold it as we step back and the dog not following us. Once we have that stability, we can add distance, and then once the dog is fairly solid with duration and distance, we can start adding distractions and whatever you can think of. Realistic tasks like pulling out your Hoover, don't plug it in, but just pick up the Hoover, move it a little bit, mark, return to the dog, reward. Wheel a chair across the room, mark, return, reward the dog. Getting out your broom, going over and picking up some shopping bags and moving them from one side of the room to another. All these day-to-day chores where it makes our life so much easier if we can say, we don't want to be tripping over the dog, and we can say, right, down. And I know now I can turn my back, I can go, I can pick up an item and make sure the dog will hold the position. Good, down. Okay. Okay.